all right. What is good, everyone? So thank you for waiting in the waiting room. So I'm here to just kind of hop on a stream, and if anybody has any questions, I thought you guys can kind of pick my brain for the next like hour or two, depending on how many people show up. But I'm gonna kind of give a brief introduction on some interesting theory concepts that I've been kind of going through and talking about with my students and stuff. Let's see, did my stream just end? Let's see. I don't think it did. Let's see what's going on with my stream. Looks like it's still live, but yeah, I'm gonna get a new link for it. Yeah, I'm still live. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of the ordeal of what is the haps right now. There we go. So anyways, give me some questions while I kind of talk, and I'm gonna kind of give some problems that I've been having, at least that my students have been having, that I'm trying to clear up. So the first order of topic that I wanted to talk about is some sort of new theory concepts that you guys can incorporate into your shredding and stuff. So please, again, I'm going to keep saying, ask me questions. Ask me so many questions. This is an open question and answer type thing that I'm going to be going through. I'm going to be doing this like as much as I can throughout the week, hoping about every other day or something, because it's so easy for me to do it now that I have a good setup for it. Ask questions. Yeah, so anyways, the first concept that I'm going to kind of talk about a little bit is modal mixture a little bit, and see if you guys can kind of really understand that, which, by the way, you guys can ask me anything outside of music theory too. I can answer really anything. But so I want to talk about using kind of like weird stuff when you guys shred and when you guys compose and everything, and kind of incorporate some of the bands that I've been talking about into that. So the last video that I made was the Megadeth video, the really long Megadeth video, and it was really fun to make that, but it was really hard and stuff, obviously. But the main thing that I kind of realized is that they do a lot of modal mixture specifically with fourths. Okay, so if you're in the key of like E minor, like for example, if you go up into something like A minor and borrow the F natural, that would be a good example of modal mixture, right? So what I'm going to kind of show you is some examples of modal mixture, specifically with some stuff like some websites that I think are honestly really good for helping you guys here. So if we take a look here at this little guy, basically modal mixture is the harmonic technique of mixing notes from the parallel major and natural minor. Okay, so what exactly does that mean? Okay, so if you're in the key of A minor, your relative key should be A major. Okay, that's the first thing to understand. So A minor to A major is kind of the ordeal that we're going after. So virtually you can borrow from any key, but for now we're just going to be sticking with that because that's kind of the main concept of it. So if you look here, we're taking C major over to C minor. Let's see if this works. So that was your major, right? That was your C major scale. Okay, so if you kind of look obviously at what's coming, when you are looking at a major scale versus a minor scale, the difference is the third, the sixth, and the seventh, until you're doing harmonic minor, right? So pretty much in a nutshell, what they're going to do is they're going to flat the 3, flat the 6, and flat the 7. Okay, and they're using this like really weird flute thing, but and you can have your solfege if you want to. I don't really use solfege that much because I'm not a singer. In fact, I'm a really bad singer. It was hard for me to get through oral skills in college, but yeah, going forward a little bit with this, While the changes may only be reflected in a single melodic line, yada yada, add color, they have a really good harmonic effect, right? So when you borrow notes from the parallel scale, the chord quality changes a ton. So this is a really good and important concept for you guys to understand, is that when you change the notes, okay, when you change the scale, you change the chords, okay? And this is really important. So if I'm in C major and I start using like a parallel key or something like that, and I start using E flat, like any chord that had an E flat in there has to be changed. Or I'm sorry, any chord that had an E in there has to be changed to an E flat, right? So change the notes in the scale. You got to change the chords too, or it's going to sound really, really bad, okay? So let's keep reading through this. So literally, as what I just said, you can see that now changing the key signature or changing the keys has thus further changed the chords and everything. So they're changing now to the point where we're having more diminished chords, like right here. We have a diminished chord now. We have different ones are major versus minor now. So let's listen to it. I feel like I'm in church right now. I love the minor one so much. Like using an organ is so great. So but yeah, so that's kind of a really good example of like you can cross these over basically in any sort of direction you want to. And it's going to sound really, really good when you guys are writing, okay? So this is kind of just like a typical and really easy aspect of composing weirder stuff. Okay, so my warm-up routine, thank you for the question. So the very first thing that I've been doing for a very long time is I only practice my picking stuff, okay? So to briefly detour, grab your pick and practice your pick slanting with even numbers, okay? Without anything with the left hand first, okay? And really just sit there and practice those even numbers of stuff and make sure your pick is slightly angled like this, pointed a little bit more towards your chest. That's going to be your start for like a good 5 minutes or so. And then from there, start working on your opposite end pick slanting, where you have to start changing it. So all pick slanting for me for at least the first 10 minutes. Then I start incorporating the left hand and I start doing licks that are in groups of 2, 4, 6, and 8. Okay, the most common even number of strings. Then I start doing the odd number stuff. Then I start doing the sweeps, and then I start doing maybe a little bit of tapping. Like I'm all technique. Okay, I am all technique. So I make sure that my pick slanting good, then my sweeps, and then I start getting creative with like mixing that stuff and tapping and stuff. If I have a song that I have to learn or whatever, I'll do it. But that's how I warm up at least. So, yeah. So going forward a little bit here, the aspect of this stuff is really, really nice, because now what we're gonna look at is the common chord progressions. That is going to sound really, really badass and awesome. So if you remember my Lorna Shore video about modal mixture and using the minor 6 chord in a minor key, this is kind of the stuff that we're talking about here. Is when you start using modal mixture in your shredding, especially your composing and your chord progressions, you guys are going to sound so much better and so much cooler than a lot of other bands and a lot of other artists, okay? And it's because like using the diatonic scale is awesome, and there's a lot of really beautiful things in simplicity, but if you just slightly tweak it, it's going to sound really, really good. So, okay, so now we got some things that are a little bit more hectic with the do re mi fa sol la. So when you go into like oral skills class in school, they're going to teach you about do re mi, okay? But there are other ways to pronounce it in case you have like a minor instead of a major. So instead of la, that means lay. So this is exactly what I was talking about, is that when you do a flatted 6, call it lay, okay? I'm not gonna sing because you guys are honestly just gonna laugh at how bad I am at singing, but this is just the concept. That was what I was always good at, is I know the concepts of all this stuff, but I can't sing it. But yeah, so as you might expect, not all of these modal mixture possibilities show up with equal frequency, which is very, very true. Cadential predominant chords are common targets. Predominant chords are things that show up before the dominant chord, so like the 4 chord, the 6 chord, that kind of thing. And the chords that are in the example below appear with some frequency in cadential progressions, okay? Each with only borrowed lay, the flat 6 from the parallel minor key. Oh, I'm so excited. Okay, so right here, we're going to listen for this and hear how it sounds with the diminished 2 in first inversion. Okay, that's what the 6 means in first inversion. So if I play this, that sounds pretty raunchy, like already. So we're getting a difference of a simple minor chord, which is D minor, right? Or diminished, which is in first inversion, okay? So moving on from here, we're just kind of listening to the differences between these two. So now we have a major 4 versus a minor 4. Okay, pretty simple enough. Okay, now we have our diatonic 7 chords. Okay, so this is where the half diminished chord comes in. Okay, so if you don't really understand half diminished chords, kind of the main concept to understand is that it really is just a standard diminished 7 stack. Except the only difference is we're altering the 7th chord by raising that up a half step. Okay, so that's the difference there. Diminished 7 chords sound. I'm sorry, half diminished 7 chords sound awesome. By the way, if you ever wound up trying to noodle with them, they sound really good. It's a big jazz thing, but it's also a big classical thing. What's the scale called when you flatten the minor 6th? Is it the harmonic minor scale or something else? Okay, so when you flatten the minor 6, so the problem with that is if you flatten the 6, you can't flatten it because then you're just at the 5th scale degree. Okay? So if you're flattening the minor 6th, yeah, because if it's already a minor 6th, you're a half step away from the 5, right? If you do an A minor scale, you're getting up to F, right? A, B, C, D, E, F. That's your 6. If you flatten that 6, you're back over to your 5, okay? So that would be my answer to that. If you meant like if you're in a major scale, you can flatten the 6, like that's totally fine. That would be some more, like a really good example of doing some more some modal mixture stuff. But yeah, that would be my answer to that. So remember, like the harmonic minor is raising the 7, right? So if you raise the 7th scale degree in a minor scale, that's your harmonic minor. Okay, so yeah, half diminished versus regular 7, it's gonna be a big difference. Hell yeah, there we go. Already sounds really juicy. I'm gonna pin this thing so that way people, yeah, there we go. Okay, so last one, we have a 6/5. Okay, so really quick lesson here is like when we are making inversions with our chords and stuff, especially with 7 chords, we have 3 different types. We have 6/5, we have 4/3, and 4/2. And those numbers that look like fractions are literally just giving us the interval in between the bottom and the top. Okay, so yeah. And yeah, dude, feel free to ask more questions. Like that's what I'm gonna be doing for the next, like, I don't know, hour or two, depending. And yeah, so 6/5 is a really nice sounding 7th chord. It really does sound nice. And remember, inversions, we're just taking a chord and we're flipping it around. Excuse me. That's it. That's all we're actually doing. Okay, so when you make chords and when you make sweeps on your guitar, try using some chord inversions. They're really, really good. Okay? Let me take a sip of water. I gotta drink my water today. I got judo later. So anyways, let's keep going here a little bit with this. like I said, like all this little fraction here is it's just telling us like what the exact interval is between the two. So 6/5 is first inversion. So that means that the third of the chord is on the bottom. 4/3 would mean that the fifth is on the bottom, and then 4/2 4/2 would mean that the seventh is on the bottom. Okay. But they're all the same chord, just in a different order. All right. This is pretty rad here. So altering chord roots and stuff. So borrowing May, which is the flat third, right, and Re, which is the flat 7, is also very common. Okay, so the scale degrees generates the chords the flat 6 chord. Okay, the flat major 6. So that means that we play a 6 chord, but we go back a half step. I'm right here, by the way. The flat 3, and then the flat 7. Okay, so I've talked about this before in my Lorna Shore video, and I keep bringing up Lorna Shore because they do this junk all the time, and it sounds really, really good. That's, I think, part of why Lorna Shore is so successful, is because they know how to write, okay? They know how to write their chord progressions, and using these borrowed chords is freaking awesome. Okay, so do you kind of see how, like, with a regular 6 chord, we were literally just talking about this. So a regular 6 chord in the key of C major is A minor, right? It's that. It sounds really simple. Okay, if we flatten the root and the fifth, okay, basically taking this whole shape and bumping the root and the fifth back a half step, we turn it into an A flat chord, right? A flat minor. Okay, so if you use this like C major into A flat, it's gonna sound really raunchy, right? But that's kind of the whole point. Like, we're trying to sound different. We're trying to sound a lot cooler and more interesting. Let's take it again. Let's see how the 3 chord sounds. So if we're in the key of C major, okay, a 3 chord should just be what? C, D, E, E minor, right? Because the 1, 4, 5 is always going to be major. Then the middle ones are going to be opposite, and the 7 is going to be diminished. All right? So let's keep going here. Let's hear how the 3 sounds. E minor. Okay, again, we've got the drawbar organ, so it sounds really weird. But flatting the 3, right? Like kind of like right here, is like a really good example of sounding really, really weird. So boom, super dark. Like, I love it. I think it sounds great. Can you play altitudes? I'm trying to learn. It's not that easy for a 12-year-old with smallest hands. Okay, so if you're 12 and you're trying to learn altitudes, that's pretty crazy. I would have to see like how good you actually are and what you're doing wrong. I would really have to like legitimately like sit down with you and just see how your fingers are moving, because with altitudes and shredding in general, what we need to pay attention to is, like, just to derail for 2 seconds, is your sweeps, right, would be one of the bigger parts of that, but also your alternate picking, because that's most of the song. I would argue that the alternate picking is harder with that one. So I would have to see you. I'd have to see you do it in person. So if you want to, just hit me up. I'll hit you. If you email me, we can get a lesson together, and it's free too. So, and that goes for anyone too. If you guys want like a free lesson, just email me. Okay. But anyways, let's keep going here. So, you can do a diminished 7 chord, or you can do a flat major 7 chord. So we're kind of understanding. That sounded kind of cool already. Okay. So, okay, this is pretty cool. So try it. Construct the chord according to the given Roman numeral. Pay careful attention to the chord quality. Okay, so this is going to be something really good for us to kind of figure out here. Is it's giving us, this is like theory 10, not theory 101, but this is like theory class 101. Okay, so it's basically saying we're trying to construct a G in the key of G major. We're trying to construct a 4 chord, but pay attention to the fact that this is lowercase. That means that it wants a minor chord. So it would typically be C major, but instead we're going to be doing C minor. So I don't entirely know what I can do. Okay, so I can do this, C, E, G, but I need this, how do I lower? Nope. How do I lower this by a half step is the real question. Because what we need is oh, look at that. Boom. Now, do I get to, what does this do? Oh, sick. Okay. So this is pretty crazy. So, now we're in the key of A major. Okay. So 3 sharps in the key sig, right? So, in the key of A major, what is the 6th chord? It's going to be F sharp, right? Because we have an F sharp in the key sig, and it's going to be F sharp minor, okay? So what I'm going to do first, before I worry about anything else, is I'm just going to build a normal, since it's bass clef too, we got to pay attention to that, so we can just start up here, make our lives nice and simple. So we have F, A, C. So that's, right now we have F sharp minor. So we basically need, honestly, in a nutshell, instead of F sharp, we basically need to make an F major chord, right? Because we need a flat chord, right? So we need, instead of being F sharp, we need it to be natty, right? And then the A can stay the same. And then instead of C sharp, we're going to play C natural. What does this do? Check my answer. Oh, okay. I can check my answer. I didn't know that. Okay. How about this? Cool. All right. Makes sense, guys. So this is pretty weird. This is not as common. This is like, at this point, if you're doing something like this, oh, you can play it too. Make some notes around before playing audio, obviously. Okay, so let's make a D major chord, right? Because it's capitalized, right? It's a 1 chord, but this is not very common again, guys, right? But if I play it like this, okay, it's D minor, right? You can hear it. It sounds really sad. Now we're going to change this into what? What do we need to change right here to make sure that this is a major chord now? I'm kind of just giving you the answer by clicking it, but you have to raise the 3rd, right? Now you can hear it. And there you go. Boom. Oh, Jesus. All right, they're giving us a difficult one. Well, here's the good thing is that we're in the key of E major, so we have 4 sharps. And for now, what we're going to do is we're going to basically build a half diminished chord. Okay, so this is one that, like, honestly, it wouldn't be a bad idea to double check it on a piano, if you got, or your guitar if you got it in front of you. But here's what we got to do. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stack a 6/5, which is first inversion, 2 chord, which is a 7. Okay, so we're going to do F, A, C, and E. I'm not even going to worry about the accidentals yet. Okay, so I'm going to start with A because it's first inversion. A, C, E, F. Okay, so this whole chord is F, A, C, E. So we need to make sure that it is a half diminished chord. Okay, so we have it right now. It's basically doing a minor 7 chord, right? So we have F sharp, right? A, C sharp, and E natural, right? Okay, so F sharp, A, C sharp, and E. This is the only one that's a little bit tricky, so let's hear it. So it's kind of nice sounding, right? Yeah, it is a little more advanced. If you're kind of a beginner, stick around for a little bit because I'll go back a little bit and I'll kind of clear up a couple things with this. So like what we're basically doing right now is we're stacking chords. Okay, so when you stack chords, you're basically, if you know how to count in music, that's how you stack chords, right? If you know that an interval of a third from C is C, D, E, right? That's pretty cool. So if you know how to count, that's kind of what we're doing right now. So I'm just counting stuff and I'm stacking stuff. Okay, so let's figure this out together, guys. So essentially, if we have like, Christ, this is a half diminished 6/5 chord. Okay, so we're gonna try to make a F sharp half diminished. So the problem is right now is we're gonna focus on the diminished part first, which is going to be the 5, right? Because when we have a triad of minor, we have to flat the 5th to make it diminished. So we're gonna take the C sharp and we're gonna make it a C natural. Now let's hear it. Okay, so if you hypothetically, the thing that always gets me with with like the thing is with building these chords and stuff, like that always gets me is the 7, especially with half diminished stuff. I always think of the there's a couple classical pieces that I know that actually have this chord, F sharp half diminished. Grab my classical for a second here. So like this, for example, I didn't want to cheat, but like that's a half diminished, F sharp half diminished chord. Okay, so it would be F sharp, right? A, C, and E natural. So if I play this, and then I play this on here, that's it. So that should be right. Boom. Got it. Okay? Okay, if that doesn't make sense, like it's basically just a 7th chord, a normal like 7th chord with a flatted 5th, right? So let's go to the next one. Okay, this one's pretty easy. So, I'm having fun. This is a good time. I'm not gonna lie. You guys are like, I love talking to you guys about this stuff. So, essentially now, right here, what key are we in? Okay. 5 sharps, we're in the key of B major. Okay, so look at your circle of fifths. Go to about what? I think it's 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. I need to like visualize it because C is there. But yeah, so it's five sharps in the key sig, right? Okay. And what does the Roman numeral here mean, guys? That's the first thing to ask yourself. If it says the number 3, then that means that they want you to make a 3 chord, right? So in the key of B major, count up 3 from B. B, C, D. That's up a 3rd, right? So, but we have to apply the key signature. So your actual chord is going to be C sharp minor, right? Okay, so we have C sharp minor, but the only problem is right now is they want it to be flattened and they want it to be major. So technically this is actually, instead of playing C sharp minor, so let me start with that. How about I start with that? C, E, G. Okay, so I have the diatonic chord right here. I'm going to make it, instead of C sharp minor, I'm going to basically go with some sort of a flatted 3rd, right? But it has to be major. So what we're going to do is, instead of C sharp minor, we're going to make this C major. Okay, so we're going to make this natural, and then the E is fine, so this should be right. What did I do? Feedback, the answer is only partially correct. One of the 3 notes are correct. What did I do wrong? Oh, no. Let's see. So I did B, C. Oh, I counted this wrong. I'm sorry, guys. This is actually supposed to be D, F, and A. So it's supposed to be a D major chord. So I have to I totally messed this up, guys. I counted this completely wrong. So I don't know how I counted that wrong. I probably just went too fast, but like it happens to all of us, right? So this is going to be D major chord, right? So we have D, F sharp, and A natural. All right, let's see if I get that right. There we go. Okay. Total rookie move on my end, but it's okay. Okay, so let's pause there for a second, okay? That was a lot of more like advanced theory for you. So that is what you guys are going to get to the point to do once you get through like theory 1 stuff, right? Now, let's go back a little bit into theory 1 and make sure that you guys can understand how to build triads. Excuse me. Okay. But before I go on, please ask questions while I drink my water. Yeah. Okay. So, the thing that I was going to say is, like, if you don't know how to build a triad, excuse me, If you don't know how to build a triad right now, don't worry. Like, the main concept right now is this. Don't worry about sharps or flats yet. If you're especially confused on sharps or flats, all you really got to do is count. So if you're at the note C, count up a third from C. Without any sharps or flats, C, D, E, that's a third. And then you need your fifth. So root third, fifth, so C, D, E, F, G. Boom, you got your triad, okay? And that's really it. So that's kind of the ordeal that I'm talking about, is root third, fifth. If you want to make it a seventh chord, just count up a seventh from your root. C, E, G, B. Now, obviously, there are a lot of differences of seventh chords, right? So there's major 7, there's minor 7, and then there is dominant 7, okay? All I want you to think about right now is this. If you're in a major key, or if you're making a major chord, it's by default, and if you're counting in major, it's going to be, a major 7 chord. If it's minor 7, okay, it's going to be a minor 7 arpeggio, right? So think of it like this. If I made an A minor triad, it would be A, and then C for our third, and then E for our fifth. A, C, E. If I add the seventh on there, it would be A, C, E, G. That's a minor 7. If I want to make that major 7, all I'm really going to do is stack up a G sharp on there, right? And then I'm going to make that C a C sharp. Okay, so if you don't understand that, don't worry about it. Like, focus on the counting first. All my students that I teach with theory, they go, like, literally what I just did is, like, we go too fast and then we don't count it right, and then we focus too much on the accidentals. When, yeah, the accidentals are important because you're going to get it wrong if you don't know the key signature, okay? But for now, get the counting down. Like, you should be super, super fast with your counting, okay? Like, if I say, okay, we're at the note F sharp, count up a fifth from F sharp. If that's killing you, like, figure it out faster, okay? Like, take off the sharp, F, G, A, B, C, then add the sharp at the end. So the answer is C sharp, okay? Get good at your counting, guys. That's what's going to set you up for, like, supreme success, okay? But yeah, that's what a seventh chord is stacking a root, a third, a fifth, and a seventh. So yeah, yeah, feel free to ask me questions about that as I kind of keep going. So back to the advanced stuff. So oh boy, this is fun. So tonic and dominant. So using modal mixture with tonic and dominant chords is also possible. Changing from 1 to 1, aka a major or a minor, that's where the capital and the lowercase Roman numerals come in, is a common technique, right? But the 5 to a 5 is not as common, which is so true. Which, when a 5 occurs in a major key, it's more likely to indicate an extended tonicization or modulatory passage instead of a single instance of modal mixture. So what they're basically saying is that, like, when you use a minor 5 chord, which is so unbelievably rare, you're probably indicating that you're going to modulate, okay? AKA you're going to change keys, okay? So, yeah, so using modal mixture, like, for example, this thing. This is a little bit common, right? This is not very common. The thing is that minor 5 doesn't really, here, let me adjust here. That minor 5 doesn't really give us as juicy of tension as the major 5 does, okay? So music is all about tonic and dominant, okay? Western harmony is all about tonic and dominant. Not all music obviously has to do with this, but, like, if you guys are just trying to learn, like, basic theory that you hear in, like, everyday music, tonic and dominant is the basis of it, aka tension from your dominant and then resolution from your tonic, okay? That's what music is we're creating tension and then we are resolving it, right? So that's kind of what we're talking about here. So using modal mixture, let's see what this says. So using modal mixture is is as simple as lowering a few notes, but is most common for chords to be fully borrowed from the minor scale. Yeah, that's true. So not just partially. For example, using the lay or the flat 6 when a chord also uses a mi, which is a 3, is uncommon. Okay? It is also common that once modal mixture enters, it stays until the harmony moves into another harmonic category. That basically means like if you're like writing a song and you're using like, let's say you're using like a flat 3 chord, you're probably going to use that for a while until you enter like a new section of the song, right? Because we want repetition. Repetition is going to make your compositions and your shredding a lot better. You got to repeat stuff and do alterations of those repeating properties. So let's hear what this sounds like, because if there are 2 predominant chords and the first one uses modal mixture, the second chord is likely to include it as well. Okay, let's hear this. That sounded nice. Now the weird one. See, that sounded a lot weirder. Like a lot weirder. Just using that flat 6 and the diminished 2. Pretty cool stuff. I didn't realize how common that this flat 2 is. It's pretty crazy. But anyways, the Picardy third is probably one of my favorite aspects of modal mixture that you can use, and it's very, very common too. So like when you are using like the Picardy third, it's basically like instead of landing in like let's say you're in G minor like this thing says. If I'm in the key of G minor, let's end on G major instead. Let's hear it. You hear how juicy that sounded? It's like so metal. I love it so much because ending on that major chord is like very, very epic. I don't know. It's got that extra flavor in it. So if you're in a minor key and you really like, if you're about to finish the whole song, try ending on major. Like especially with a 5 chord, it's gonna sound really badass. So, okay, larger scale modal mixture. Jesus Christ. Before I go into that, let's take a break here for a second and just kind of hang out, and answer any other questions. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. These glasses are not, if you ever see me going like this, it's because these glasses are, I'm not like, I have good vision. These glasses are blue light filter glasses because I'm on the computer a lot and I've been getting like headaches and stuff. So my girlfriend got me these things and they were really good. Like I get way less headaches. I get like no headaches now. So if you guys are like me and you spend a lot of time on the computer, I'd highly recommend getting something like this. Sometimes computers have like a blue light filter. But yeah, just my 2 cents. Save your eyesight a little bit. So yeah, that's kind of the ordeal of that. Trying to think of anything else that I can hash out before getting into the scarier theory stuff. If you're new to theory, okay, and you are scared of it, send me an email. I have group theory classes that I teach like this, but it's more like in depth. This is more like casual, and I just kind of go over topics that I think are interesting. And your first class is free, which is awesome. Same thing with guitar. If you need help with guitar, same thing, free first lesson. Just email me. Everything is ahalm093@gmail.com. If you want to shoot me an email there. It's in my bio somewhere, but that's my email for a free lesson. Just hit me up. And like you'll just by like one lesson you'll get like tremendously better, whether it's theory or shredding or composition. I teach everything. So let's keep going. All right, larger scale modal mixture. While let's see, modal mixture may only involve a brief melodic change, yada yada, it is also used in extended tonicization and can be used to facilitate a modulation. Yeah, which is very true. So they're basically saying that like when you start using weird chords, it's either going to be you're going to use it temporarily, or you're going to straight up modulate and be a crazy person and change keys, right? So right here, let's see, example 10 shows a modulation between two distinctly related keys, B flat major and D flat major. Okay, so we have two keys. Those two keys are kind of close to each other. Okay, and using a pivot chord, a chromatic pivot chord, and a pivot chord is what we use to change keys, okay, to smooth out what could be a rather abrupt modulation, okay? So the subdominant chord uses lay, which is a flat 6, yada yada, and then a diatonic la. So let's hear this, okay? All right, so right here is our pivot point. Whenever you see, let me scroll down. Whenever you see something like this, like we're in B flat major here, but then right here is the questionable spot where either we're playing in B flat major a minor 4 chord, or we're in D flat major and we're playing a minor 2 chord, right? So this is the weird pivot chord in question that they highlighted. Oh, it sounds dark, but you almost like don't even notice it, right? It's like most of us won't like look twice. It like sounds so good. I really like it. Like using that minor 4 chord is really, really good, right? Very pretty sounding, right? And now we're nicely in D flat major. Okay, so got a question. Can you explain what a melodic minor scale is, as well as double melodic scale? My professor mentioned something about it today, but I can't. Okay, so melodic minor is really, really easy. It's just a minor scale, but a raised 6 and a raised 7. Now, typically with melodic minor, when we ascend, we play it normally with the raised 6 and the raised 7. When we come back down, we just play natural minor. That's like let's call it the theory standard, so to speak. So now the other one that you mentioned, what did you call it? Double melodic scale. The double melodic scale, I believe, is very similar to the double harmonic minor scale. So you can, unless you're calling about the double harmonic, because I've double melodic, I don't know if that's actually a thing. I don't think it exists. Double melodic. Are you sure you're not talking about double harmonic minor? Because that's a thing. Double melodic minor. What would double melodic be? You're like making me think. I don't think that's a thing. At least I'm not seeing anything about it. But so double harmonic. Okay, so double harmonic minor is basically you raise the 4th and you raise the 7th. It sounds very, very dark. It sounds like this. Like if I did E double harmonic minor, it's used a lot in Megadeth. Marty Friedman was a huge double harmonic minor guy. He still is, but not as much. And when you trying to get there we go. So like when you raise the 4, you're creating what? If I'm raising the 4 like from D to A flat or G sharp, you're creating a tritone, right? So thus creating the tritone, right? There's a lot of really raunchy intervals in that scale, right? I don't even think this guitar's in tune, but like it sounds really, really awesome. So I'd highly recommend using it. It's kind of like a weird, it's related to the blues scale in like a really weird way. How do you differentiate flat and sharps? That's a great question. I love it. So, basically this. So like first of all, know your key signature. If you are in a key that has sharps, use sharps. Always use sharps if you can avoid it. Like if you can keep using sharps, keep using sharps. There will be exceptions to this when you get into more advanced theory, but I'm talking about like basic stuff. So if you're in the key of G major, you use F sharp. Don't use G flat. That would not make any sense, right? So use what's in the key sig, okay? A general rule of thumb, when you're just playing on the guitar and you go forward from D to D sharp, call that D sharp. Don't call it D to E flat because you're going up. But if you go D back one, call that D flat. So backwards call it flats, upwards call it sharps or forwards. And that's kind of the ordeal. So really make sure you pay attention to that, okay? And that's just a general rule of thumb. That really is just a general rule of thumb. Like, it all depends on the key that you're in, okay? So know your key sigs, guys. Know the circle of fifths. Like, the circle of fifths is your best friend. If you can understand the circle of fifths in a really solid concept, you guys will kill it with your theory, okay? That's the whole ordeal, guys. Like know the circle of fifths, and from there, everything is going to make you soar. Okay, I cannot explain it enough. Let me give you a short story here. When I was in my first music theory class in high school, I was coming in with no theory knowledge, and I just knew how to play fast on the guitar, and I knew a couple of scales. Like, I was just like every other guitarist is right now, like no theory. And they started introducing me key signatures and kind of the circle of fifths, but we never really used it a lot. And I wish we used it a lot more, because the circle of fifths literally explains everything. So as I went into college and I relearned stuff, I understood it a lot more when we just went ham on the circle of fifths. And that's your ticket to ride, guys. That's your ticket out of here, is like, know the circle of fifths like it's the back of your hand, and you'll do great. So yeah, that's kind of the I guess my little side story lecture of that stuff. Yeah, feel free to ask more questions. I think we're almost done with this modal mixture thing. But let's keep going a little bit. So musical examples. Example 11 shows a simple harmonic progression that borrows the flat 6 from the parallel minor key, which is pretty cool. I love that. It's one of my favorite ones. Which produces a modal mixture. Notice the change in quality from the 2-4-3 to the half diminished 2-4-3. You guys hear that? How weird this one kind of sounds? Boom. And you still kind of keep that nice texture with the dominant chord. Like, the dominant chord is going to save you in every capacity. If you think you're getting too weird, use a dominant chord, because it's going to still solidify the key that you're in. Oh boy. Example 12. Oh, Jesus Christ. What is this? Oh, this is the Saint. Yeah. Oh no. I just want to hear it. I don't even want to read about it. Ooh. Do you hear that juiciness of this secondary chord right here? Right? Secondary dominance. I'm not going to go into secondary dominance today, but that technically can be a form of modal mixture, right? So yeah, that's the whole lecture on this. If you want to read about it, here's the link. Let's see what the next questions are. I'm not going to leave anytime soon. I've got a little more time. So, My professor preaches that you should know the circle of fifths better than your wife. Dude, it's so true. Like, it will save you. It will literally save you in so many different ways. Like, you'll be able to find chords much faster. You'll be able to understand harmony a lot easier. You'll be able to write you'll just be able to compose better. Like, if you use that stuff, like, you guys are gonna like slay and like kill it, honestly. So, yeah, I would totally agree. Get your circle of fifths game in, right? So while you guys are thinking of other things to ask, because please ask me questions, I can kind of talk about things that you guys should listen to that'll help you play. Because listen, I know that all my subscribers are metalheads, right? I'm a huge metalhead. We all like our different forms of old school metal and newer metal and stuff, like maybe some in between stuff. Like, there's so much metal out there that we all love, but as metal musicians, we need to listen to other music that can apply to our metal music, okay? The best one that I can give you, that I can help you with, is definitely classical stuff. Right? So start listening to Baroque for a little bit, like Bach stuff. You should know Bach like really, really well if you're a metal musician and you're serious about your theory and stuff, because Bach is like the most metal musician alive, or not alive, who was alive. And from there, go through some of the eras of classical music with like Mozart and Beethoven, then get into the more romantic stuff, I guess like later Beethoven, Schumann, Debussy, and then get into the 19th century and get into the atonal stuff. Like, go through all that stuff. Even I forgot about like medieval and Renaissance. But any tips on fretboard memorization? Okay, so I was just talking about this with a student of mine, and what we kind of do with fretboard memorization is always know your octaves. That is step one. Okay, 12 frets up on the same string, right? Or go through the skip a string, skip a fret rule with the low E string and the A string. So first step, try to memorize the low E string and the A string, because then from there everything else is octaves. So if I play the 3rd fret low E, right, that's a G. So if I play a G, if I skip a string and go to the D string, but then I skip a fret and I go to the 5th fret, there's my octave. Same thing goes for the A string. 3rd fret A is a C. 5th fret on the G string is a C, right? So do those two. So anything that you play here is an octave. That's like super important. Then also go up 12 frets. That's what's severely going to help you into your playing, okay? So unfortunately, I don't have any dots, but I just kind of have to guess. I have some dots on the back of this, but like but yeah, maybe I should tune up and play a little. I haven't had the chance to play this because I've been learning a lot of songs for gigs coming up. Oh. All right. Still pretty out of tune. And I know exactly why. I know it's because I literally have not touched this thing in like a week, and I feel really bad about it. So, yeah, what I was gonna say is like, if you are trying to learn classical guitar, email me, right? I can help you. Like, I was in your shoes before. Like, metal musician trying to learn classical. Just shoot me an email. At least come for the first free lesson, and we can at least figure things out for you. Yeah. Anyways, like with like classical guitar specifically, it's not just classical, right? It's Spanish guitar. It's a lot of like South American stuff. Some of those South Americans were like some of the best players on the classical guitar or the nylon guitar. Like your Terreña stuff, right? . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . God, how does that go? I kind of remember it. Let's see. Wait, no. B7. Yeah, so learn your classical guitar if you have the time to do it. You know, but here's what I'll say too. If you want my advice on what you should learn and stuff, is like, I don't think you should touch any other instrument until you've been playing the electric guitar for at least like 5 years. And you can shred pretty well. I think that's a good time to maybe start pivoting, but still keep your chops up and still keep learning. But like, if you don't have at least 5 years under your belt on an electric guitar, I don't think you should even touch a classical. Like, and 5 years is pretty generous. I didn't start until I played for like 10 years. Always something I'm emphasizing is master one and then move on to the other, right? Yeah, does anybody else have any other cues? Because the main thing that I want to go over is modal mixture today. I don't have any students coming up. I have a couple other things I have to do. I have to practice a set for some peeps because I've got some gigs coming up. So I'm going to eat soon because I'm hungry, and I've got judo later. So I'm going to get my martial arts on. Really excited for that because I've been trying to get better at martial arts and all that good stuff. Been doing that for a bit. Yeah, if you guys want to know about like the next videos that are coming up, I've got some things in the works. I'm actually about to shift a little bit into having somebody else edit the videos because I want to make more videos. And the Megadeth video took me it took me forever to do, like 2 months, and I just can't dedicate as much time to editing, but I can dedicate plenty of time to recording and researching and scripting everything. Like that's what I do all day. But like in terms of like editing videos, I just think that somebody can do better. So that's kind of what's going to happen in the future. Is I think the editing game is going to go up as I'm like kind of getting somebody else to do it. So that's pretty interesting, huh? So I'll be getting somebody else to do it. In terms of a streaming schedule, guys, I love the fact that there's like 6 people here right now. Like I had at one point like 8 people here. I'm like, damn, you guys are awesome. So, yeah. Any last minute questions, let me know because I'm gonna head out. So please answer your questions now. Or ask your questions now. But yeah, more theory videos are definitely coming soon. I'm gonna be live streaming this like more, guys. Like I love this. Like I love talking to you guys, and maybe I'll do more guitar stuff if you guys want. Maybe I'll do more composing live, or just hang out, and just talk about music and life and that stuff. So yeah. I still have carpal tunnel, which kind of sucks. So I'm squeezing like a tennis ball at my desk on the regular because it helps. It just helps my hands feel a little bit better. Doesn't really impact my playing too much. It more so like hurts more when I'm just typing and doing like on the phone or the computer stuff. So definitely do your hand stretches and take breaks, have good posture. I feel like this whole stream I've been slightly hunched, which is not good. But yeah, ask any other questions real quick because I'm about to leave. And I think I'm going to do another stream tomorrow. Let's do another one tomorrow. I should have the time for it because I have a lot of time tomorrow. And I'm going to be just, again, practicing some other band stuff. So, yeah. All right. I am not getting questions. So that is it, guys. I'm going to end the stream. I'm going to see you guys tomorrow too. So tune in tomorrow. I'm going to write tune in tomorrow. All right. Have a good night, guys, or a good